ask our leaders, do you think that the time is coming when some towns are going to have to talk, or should talk, about merging, about becoming one? Would you do anything to encourage that? And if that's too radical in the land of stating habits, what's the legislature going to do to make regionalization easier for towns and to take down some of those barriers? Senator McKinney.
Look, I was at an environmental forum earlier this year, and Senator Williams spoke about the need for regional governments and that maybe not every town can have their own school district. So the issue is out there. There are people in this General Assembly that want to go to regional governments, not just regional efficiencies. I would sort of quip and say that if county governments were the solution to state economic woes, New York would not be in the trouble it's in. It's not the solution. The solution is we can't afford the state government we currently have.
Let me ask another question and go to Representative McCluskey first on this one. I know that all cities and towns are concerned about the levels of state aid, and many of them have been told the best you can hope for is that we're not going to cut you from where you are now. But when the pressure gets really intense at the Capitol for municipal aid, can you assure the folks from the small towns that their towns are going to be treated equally with the demands of big cities and some of the mid-sized cities that have organized on their own to lobby you?
No, I don't think I can. We can't say that we didn't increase taxes if we go after town funding and local ECS funding. That's not a right answer. You can say that you're not raising taxes, but essentially I'm just making you guys the bad guys and raising your local property taxes. So I think that's what I can assure, that I'm not going to say that I didn't raise taxes if I passed along to you guys the tab for our failure to adequately fund local government and ECS.
No, unfortunately, based on at least my history in the General Assembly and what I've observed, there is absolutely no guarantee that we can make at this forum that you're all going to be treated fairly, because that's never the way it's been, unfortunately. I know I proposed, along with Senator McKinney and others, to revamp the educational cost-sharing formula that measures wealth, in my opinion, incorrectly. And small towns especially get the brunt of that. But more importantly, and I've been a big supporter of big cities, because I truly believe with all my heart that as the big cities go, so goes the state of Connecticut. But here's the difference. Here's the rub. I have witnessed during my tenure at the General Assembly, towns, beautiful cities like Hartford and Bridgeport come up year after year after year and say, we're in trouble, we need more money. And every year we give them more money. What is especially galling, however, whether it's to Bridgeport, Hartford, or anyone else, is when you give that money and they take it and do that with it. That is galling. And I have witnessed, for instance, the takeover of the Hartford school system, wherein reports were given that millions and millions of dollars went unaccounted for. Jobs, no-show jobs. At no given time were they able to get their arms around how many people even worked for the district. And yet year after year they said, we need more money. I witnessed 2 years ago, Bridgeport, after the state of Connecticut gave the largest infusion of educational dollars in its history. And with all due respect, the first thing the mayor of Bridgeport at the time, Mayor Fabrizi, said was, great, I'm going to go out and buy some more police cruisers with educational dollars. That is what is especially galling, not only to legislators, but I got to figure if you're a mayor or first select person of a small town and have been scratching and begging for years for extra dollars, and you see the big towns get the big bucks because they need it, and then they waste it, that's a real kick in the rear end. Here's what I'm talking about. We're in a bad spot right now. Let's cut the BS with all that we got to work together, 21st century this, cooperation, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about specific proposals that help you. You've laid them out. We have to take them, discuss them briefly, and vote on them. That's not rhetoric. That's fact. Let's do it. If we don't do it, then hold our feet to the fire and say, why the hell didn't you do it? If we did do it, say, thank you, we have another idea for you. I don't call that rhetoric. I call that cooperative, responsive, accountable government. That's what we need.
I would like to know what cuts the Connecticut General Assembly will take to demonstrate its sincerity.
Question. Anybody want to respond to that one?
Cut legislation allowances, so we don't travel to conferences, which in good times are important. In economic crisis, probably not important. But we offered to cut back on our mailing privileges for some of our glossy mailers. Not mail that constituents call and write you an email about, but some of the admittedly self-promoting mail. That amendment saved $5 million a year. That's real. It's not rhetoric. It's not symbolic. It's $5 million a year. And if we're going to say to the 15,000 people who've lost their job and the hundreds more who will, if we're going to say to the record number of people who faced foreclosure and bankruptcies, if we're going to say to that small retail business owner who is going to struggle for their very survival this winter, that we get it, we need to lead by example. That is not rhetoric, folks. And if we end up passing a budget at some point that cuts that pay, my question is, why didn't you do it last week?
Just a couple of points. One, if you take a broader view of things, the legislature probably has, in fact, reduced its compensation by the equivalent of about 25% over the last 8 years, because there has not been a raise in 8 years. In addition to that, the 10% cut, since we are a part-time citizen legislature for most members of the General Assembly, for some legislators, their legislative pay probably makes up a portion of their family income of a very small percent. Others, it makes up a very significant percent of their overall income.
There's several types of revenue enhancements. One is to say, state, you no longer tax that part, give that part to us. Same pie, just shifting from the revenue going to the state to the revenue going to the city. That's model one. Model two is keep what you got, state, we'll keep what we have, but allow us to tax even more. That's additional tax, that's model two. There are various ways that we could approach the problem, but once again, we are talking about the fact that we all represent the same people. So if I say to Joe Dokes, who lives in your town, we're not going to tax you anymore, but your mayor is, and he's going to tax you more than you're currently paying, it's coming out of the same pocket. So that's a consideration you have to bring into mind. The other thing is the other part of the accountability. If you tax your citizenry, given that power to either take this part of the sales tax or what have you, and you are not accountable or responsible for how you tax, what you do with that money, etc., the example I gave of throwing the dollar in, then what responsibility, if any, it's a question I think we have to ponder and discuss, then what responsibility do we as a General Assembly have to say, hey, wait a minute, you've been given a tool and you're taxing your citizenry without being accountable to how you're doing it, at the same time still coming back up to Hartford saying we need more money. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but those are the kind of considerations that we have to go through, we all do, when we talk about the kind of thing you're talking about.